so much for coming to the Woodstock Artists Association and Museum today. It's really so lovely to see all of you, and a testament to Nancy. The opening, too, was just this overpouring of love for Nancy and also for Michael. And it's just, you know, when you do a solo show with somebody, you really get to know them. You think so much about their work, but you also think about them as a person and as an artist. And it's a real privilege to get to know Nancy better. I'm enjoying that very much. And I want to confide in you that I always have a little breakdown when shows come down, because it's like, what? You know, you feel a little heartbroken each time. But we know that we're going to see Nancy a lot in the coming years. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's spring. This work is, you know, one thing we do when we sort of program for the year is we look at what's in the Tobin, what's going to be happening in the main gallery. And Nancy is an amazing company with the abstract artists in the Tobin wing. Those works from the collection go back, you know, Wham started collecting in the 40s. So we've got some really significant work, and Nicole Goldberg, the executive director, had a really good time thinking about larger scale abstraction. There's a deep tradition of both abstract and realistic work at Wham, and Nicole wanted to sort of pick up that thread. And I think she's going to take the other thread of realism a little further in the next couple of years as well. So we like that dialogue. But when we started to think about where would Nancy go, we felt like this was such a strong connection. Nancy is part of a continuum of artists in this region. But she's not been an artist for 6 decades. Nancy
However, I am that old, or older.
Nancy brings this passion that's youthful and energetic. It's the passion of somebody who fell in love later in life. And I'm so happy to hear her remarks today. Thank you.
I thought the tears would come later.
Just like that.
Anyway, I really am so grateful to all of you for being here, and thank you, Liz. You've been amazing. I have some notes, but I'm probably just gonna wing it. But firstly, and most importantly, I want to thank Wham for having me here. I want to thank Henry Klimowitz for choosing me as a solo artist this year. I saw that and I thought, and I looked him up and I thought, oh, he'll never choose my art. And I said, what the heck? And that's kind of been my I don't know, my standard for a long time now, for many years now. What the heck? I'll try it, right? So I got in this show, and yeah, it's so Nicole. She mentioned Nicole. The team of women here are just amazing. And Emmeline, who you see at the, guards the gate, right, at the front door, she's amazing. And Liz is amazing. She's the exhibitions director. Emily is the marketing director, and she's done a lot of the marketing. And who am I missing? Maxine, the social media person and the chair of the board. So I thank all of you so much. Took my first art class after we moved up here from the city at Columbia Green Community College over on the other side of the river. Judith Zeichner taught me how to draw. And then I found the Woodstock School of Art, and I found abstract art, or actually it found me. It really found me. And before I took that first, some of you know this, some of you don't. Prior to doing this, I was a writer. I published several books. We moved up from the city. I wasn't having much fun writing. My husband, who's behind the camera there, Michael Lee, he was writing, and at the end of the day, we would read to each other what we'd written for that day. And I wrote everything longhand, often for many years with the Mont Blanc pen, And you know, the instrument as the tool was very important. And so I had my lined notebook on my lap, and I sketched Michael sitting across from me, just with a pen. And I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, I think I've captured something of him there. So I said, maybe, well, I'm not having fun writing, so maybe I'll take an art class, and that's how it started. And I just did it. I just took an art class. And learned how to draw, and then I came here, found so many amazing teachers at Woodstock School of Art, and went to Meredith Rosier's class. Some people are students of hers who are here, in 2017, and just never turned back. My first emotional impact from art that I can remember was in 1978. When I went to the Guggenheim Museum, I was living in New York City then. I was divorced. I was 27, and there was a retrospective of Mark Rothko. I don't know if some of you might have seen that. And it started, if you know the Guggenheim, it started at the top and it goes down. And his old work was at the top, and then it went down and down and down to his late work. And it got darker. And he ended up killing himself. And I think I knew that, or I knew it later, but even without knowing that, I felt the energy of that art as I viewed it and as I walked down. And I also never even visualized myself as a visual artist. I never even thought about that as a possibility. It didn't interest me, and I didn't want that kind of life. My life was falling apart anyway, and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. So there were three significant events, as I see it, that happened. In 1985, my father died, and I don't want to die. And that sounds really dramatic, but it's true. And so I chose life, and I started cleaning up my act. I went to a Zen Buddhist monastery, and that was in 1988. And I've been going ever since. And my life completely changed. And I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. And I started bringing what I learned on the mountain down to people who would never make it up to the mountain. And so I started writing. I just thought, oh, I'm going to do some service here and share this with the world. Somehow, just like this first solo show, I got my first book published like that. It was just because it was in my heart, it was in my gut. And the other thing I also wanted to mention was 9/11. Because the night before 9/11 was the first night I spent with that guy right there behind the camera. And it really, I think, brought us together. And it was just another event that showed me how precious life is, and how I didn't want to waste time, and I wanted to live, and how connected we all are, which is also what Zen teaches me. And we all know, we've all experienced that with COVID. We all experienced that with Ukraine. You know, we feel for those people. We are all connected somehow. And I think art can connect us. What's also really interesting for me, about Zen meditation versus making art, is when I meditate, I keep my eyes open so that I can be awake, so that I can be aware, so that I can see myself and know myself and forget myself. And when I went to my first abstract art class, Meredith, the teacher, asked me to close my eyes and pick up a pencil and draw. Because I was one who thought too much. I was one who wanted to think my way to anything, to a solution, to the next right action or whatever. So, and it was so freeing that And then I opened my eyes and I looked at it, and it was like that pen that I was writing my books with sort of moved over to this blank piece of paper, and it was turned into a pencil instead of a pen, and I closed my eyes, and it was writing of a different sort, because it's abstract art. You can see a lot of lines in my work, like, it's like a language that you can't point at and say, I know what that means. I know that that's a landscape, or I know that that's, that's a person, or everybody who stands in front of a piece of abstract art sees and feels something different. And that's what I love about abstract art. And that's what, like, nobody can tell me if it's good. Duke Ellington said, if you like it, it's good. And abstract art is kind of like jazz, right? I think. And if somebody else likes it, and it doesn't even matter to me if you guys like it or not, it's you. But if you stand in front of a piece of art long enough, you will see something differently than the person standing next to you. And that to me is so beautiful. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are a few. And that's from a Zen master. So that was so liberating to me. And my first Zen teacher said to me, expect nothing. Expect nothing, expect nothing. It's like, how do you do that? How many of you expect nothing? I mean, I know I wasn't, but it like floored me. How do you do that? I was so full of expectations at that point. And I'm not anymore. I want my art to surprise me. I want my art to tell me what to do. And it does. Not my art, it's not even mine. Like, my books are no longer mine. I don't see them that way. They're kind of like my kids. They got a life of their own now, and that's the way I feel about my art. There's a passage from this Tao Te Ching that we read all the time, that I repeat constantly. I tell strangers this. I mean, do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? Mm-hmm. So that, in a way, is my motto. Even with art, some of my art are done like that. Like the sketch of Michael that first time. Oh, that's enough. I didn't have to go and do anything. And it is what it is. And sometimes, like this one and the one on the back wall, they took me a long time. But what does that mean, a long time? So sometimes I have to sit with pieces, I look at them, walk away from them, go to something else. It's like anything in life, I think. So, yeah, patience. I've never had that.
I'm just curious where you see yourself going forward, in the next year or two.
I see it all as fun, really, and challenging. And when I'm most frustrated, that's when something might happen. So I try not to, I don't want to get too comfortable in anything. And in making art, like it's what I was saying before about if I think I know how to handle this paint or whatever. So it's just that continuous journey for me, like, I want to be uncomfortable. And sitting on the meditation cushion the first time, and with the monk saying, you've got to sit here for 45 minutes, don't move, was excruciating. But when I got up, I thought, what happened there? And I just kept going back. So if it hurts, that's your teacher. Pain is your teacher, or discomfort is your teacher. That's when it's gonna, go to another level, I think. So, and And there is no other level. It's like, you know, there is no other level. There was no there. I mean, you know, and that's where meditation helped too. Like, okay, and ask questions and learn from others. And, you know, I am nothing special. My art is nothing special. When I think it's special, you know, it's like then the ego gets in there. So I'm not, you know, so it's practice though. I'm human. I get upset. I get, you know, blah, blah, blah. But don't throw anything away. Nothing is wasted. Whatever you're doing in your life, you know, because I went to my quote unquote trash pile of art recently and I picked a couple and I thought, oh, that's not bad. Let me work on it a little more. And I like it now.
It's very exciting to see the color in your life through your paintings.
Yeah, it surprised me too. You know, it was a real surprise. I live, you know, I'm from the city, in a certain era, black. You know, when my hair turned white, you know, and then I would add a little red, like that piece on the bottom, you know, it's gray and white and a little bit of red. That's what I like. So this color was like, whoa, what am I doing here? This was the first big piece that I did, and it was like, I don't know how that came out of me, but I really don't know how that came out of me, and that's why I call it Xena Landscapes, because, you know, I don't know, I love color. This piece here, all the line in it, I did completely with my eyes closed. And I opened my eyes, and it was done. I thought, it's done. And I actually mounted it, and it was just graphite and line. And then when I was getting ready for the show, I had it out, and I thought, no, it's not done. It needs some color. And this piece, and Liz has heard this, I think, but this piece, the color in it, the pink and the gray, are colors that I had in a dream of mine when I woke up right after my mother died, right before COVID. Pink was her favorite color. I used to hate pink. So you asked about the pink. I never liked pink. I love pink now. And this gray and pink colors were in a dream I had. I tried to do a painting that way, a drawing, and then it turned into something else completely. And then I didn't even realize that those were the colors that I dreamt until after it was framed and I was talking to somebody else about it, and I thought, and I looked at that. So it's constantly surprising.
Is it a feeling you have inside? Is it just the passage of time? Sometimes you come back and say, oh, it needs color, or?
Well, yeah, and you know, I sit with it and I put it away for a while, and I go back to it, and sometimes I ask suggestions, and if I like the suggestion, I might take it. If I don't like the suggestion, it's like, nah. So I have to trust myself. Because you can work on a piece to death, and that doesn't mean it's done. So give it room to breathe, is what I would say, if you're an artist. How many artists are in the room? You're all artists, come on. So give it room to breathe, whatever it is that you're doing. You know, you all have something challenging in your life, for sure. Right? That you're like, is this right? Is this, you know, what I want to do next? Is this, so, I would say just go learn how to meditate, and that helps. But you know what? That's not for everyone either. So maybe you take a long walk without listening to anything, you know, and be in some silence too, because that is really important. So, and sometimes sometimes you just have to say, okay, I'm tired of working on this, it's done. You know? That's it.
Is there an aspect of your work that you feel most comfortable
come and show it. But
And then also, is there an aspect of what aspect of the work challenges you?
Well, because I've been doing this longer, these are mostly pastels, ink, pencil, graphite, some watercolor here and there. Because I've been doing this since 2017. Oils are the ones that challenge me the most because I want to get it right. I want to get the, so, and oils for me, it's like, it takes a lot of patience for oils because they have to dry before you can add more. And so that's my biggest, not hurdle. And I really want to spend time with that. So that's kind of where I am. And maybe oils are not for me. Because I am pretty spontaneous too. And maybe I'm trying to make it work when it just doesn't work for me. I'm going back to Mark Rocco, which was all, house paint, but oils. And the color that he got, and the luminescence that he got. And, I want that too. But maybe that's just not me. So I don't know yet.
How about size? Are you more comfortable doing something small or large, or does it matter?
Oh, see, small can be large. And really, so it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I'm limited by space in my studio too. I would love to get a big, something on the wall there, but it's also like, well, maybe I'm not quite ready for that. But even just a tiny little thing of paper, you can all go home and do this tonight and sit quietly and get a pencil and just close your eyes and make some noise on the paper, and if you come up and look at any, like that one has a lot of line in it. So I love doing that because it reminds me of the writing in some way. Well, they all do. Yeah, so oils, I've got a lot of them in my studio. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know. Yeah.
You start with the drawing and then go to the paint, or you go right to the paint, putting the paint on?
And it's not paint, it's pastels, but
Or right to the color then?
I usually start with some kind of line with my eyes closed, and then I let the line inform me or direct me. And sometimes I'll start with color. I'm trying to think if there's anything here that I started with color. It's rare that I start with color. Although there's a dark piece on that wall, on the bottom, the third one in, that's mostly just dark color, and the line came after. I guess color and line are the two things that I'm just in love with. Shapes, that's all. So yeah.
Do you find that your work informs the title, or do you have a title or an idea in mind?
Mostly it's just the work informs the title. The title comes sometimes during or after it's done. I did work on a mandala series during COVID, and a couple of those pieces, like one of the pieces is called "May All Beings Be Free from Suffering, May All Beings," and then another one is "May All Beings Be at Peace." So I think I had those before. So they're not here. So usually it's the art tells me what its name is. So the title of this is "Nor Is It Otherwise." What does that mean? But it's from another Zen quote, like, "Nothing is as it seems, nor is it otherwise." And I don't even know if I have a painting, nor nothing is as it seems. I don't think so. I just like that. So anyway, anybody else? No, that's it. Okay, enjoy. Thank you so much.